Hello everybody, this is Andrea Mills here, and today I want to take you on a little tour of my pantry and I want to show you how I organize in here. So this room is about, I think it's about a little less than 8 foot wide and I think around 13 feet long. So it's a pretty good sized pantry, especially considering the size of our house. We have a small house and a large family. If you're new, I have 8 children, so there's 10 of us that live in our little house, and this is where we store the majority of our food. We don't really keep anything that's fresh down here, and most of the things that have been opened are up in the kitchen, but this is where I store the bulk of what we have. And I will share my tip for how I save money on groceries is by stocking up on what's on sale. So I'm not a coupon person. I have tried that before, but where we live there just wasn't that many great coupons, and it was for stuff that was name brand, and a lot of times I buy store brands that are cheaper. So I just like to see what's on sale, and if it's something that I know that we eat, then I try to buy it, like a case of it or whatever, to last till the next sale. And so that's how I have saved money on groceries. And this pantry, originally when we bought this house, this was a really old decrepit house when we bought it, and this room was like the room I thought nothing would ever happen in. So eventually we had put a little bed in here, a little full-size bed, and we kind of use it as like a guest bedroom type thing. And at that point I had brought in a set of plastic shelves that I got, I think, at Walmart. And that's when I first started stocking up on food. So like when I would buy cereal or something like that, I would buy several and I would have it on this little plastic shelf. So I had this little tiny little pantry overflow area in here, and then it just kept growing and growing and growing. And eventually we got rid of the bed and we stripped the whole room down to nothing, and we remodeled in here. Tom built shelves. My father-in-law bought us a freezer, and I'll kind of show you all the details of it as I go around, but eventually we have this whole room full of food. So I really am happy with our little pantry down here. We call it Mills Market, and I guess I'll just go ahead and get started and show you what's in here. The lighting is not very good in here, so I brought a light in, so I'm not sure how this is going to work out. But anyway, so this is the door that goes out into the rest of the basement, which is kind of, we call the library, on the other side of this door. And when you come in, the first thing I have here is this little hanging basket. It's like a triple metal basket, and I got this at Hobby Lobby, and it was actually red, and I didn't like the red color, but I liked the basket, so I bought it and I spray painted it, and then I used my label maker using the clear labels with white writing, and I made these little labels that show what goes in each one of the bins and put on there. So of course you can see we've got onions, potatoes, and apples, and then right below is my roll of paper towels and a little bottle of cleaner so that if we have accidents in here I can clean it up. And this is a like an organizer thing I also got at Hobby Lobby one time, and I actually used to use it at my desk before we redid my office, and I loved having all these little drawers. Now I use it mostly for like herb supplies. You can see in that drawer it's got some of my glass bottles, and each drawer just has some random little thing like that in it. I'm going to show you my pretty ceiling. I really like the ceiling that Tom built in here. It looks really nice with the coffered ceiling like that. I think it's really pretty. And actually the last row back there we couldn't fit a full tile, so he cut it in half, but you can't even tell. He did such a good job of disguising that whole thing. But anyway, so I had trouble deciding how I wanted to organize everything, and I kept changing things around, but I finally decided to kind of just go on this grocery store model. And so I labeled all of my sections. Section 1 is specialty foods, and I'll explain that in a minute. Then I have section 2 is for breakfast things. Section 3 is pastas and meals. Section 4 is snacks and chips. 5 is drinks. 6, I don't know if you can see that, condiments and sauces. 7 was going to be produce, but that's not because stuff didn't last very long back there. I didn't like it, so I didn't put it, don't do that now. 8 is canned goods, 9 is baking supplies, 10 is herb, and section 11 is my pharmacy. So in my specialty items section, this top row says Tommy's stuff, and my husband's always going shopping and he brings home random things that don't really fit with anything else. And so I finally just decided, you know what, I should just give him his own shelf, and whenever he wants to find his random stuff that he brought home, he knows exactly where it's at. So that's everything that's on that shelf. And then right below it, this shelf is empty because when we're gonna have a party or something and I buy stuff for the party, I put it on this shelf, so there's always some place to stash it away until we need it. Or if I bought something specifically for a recipe that isn't a normal item, I put it here. Which this hot fudge sauce, I bought it for something a long time ago and I never made it. Now I can't remember what it was, so I should probably just go ahead and eat that up. I call this my clearance shelf, and this is where I put things that we have too many of or that are getting close to being past their date, so that when I see it I can grab it and go ahead and eat that stuff up. Or if it's just random things, again, that like these are someone gave this to us as a gift and I just haven't baked them yet, so I put them here because they don't really have any place else to go. Next we have our breakfast items, and I have all of our boxes of oatmeal and Pop-Tarts, which we don't have a lot, but sometimes we have those. And then I didn't know where else to put that. It didn't really fit anywhere, but I have these, what are the single serving baby formula tubes, which Claudia is, she just turned 9 months old. Anyways, I've never given her a bottle before, but I always buy one of these whenever I have a baby, so that just in case something happens and there's like some emergency and I have to be away from the baby, I have something that someone else could feed the baby with a bottle. So that's what those are for, but I'm sure they'll get thrown away probably and never get used, but just in case, there they are. And then under here we have all of our syrups for when we have pancakes and waffles and things. And then at the bottom I keep the cereal. We buy the big bags of cereal, and then we have a cereal dispenser upstairs that like the kind that is in a hotel like breakfast bar thing, so we can just dump the cereal in and eat it from there. And then this is honey that we sell for a friend of ours. They have bees, and so we keep this case of honey in here, and we refill it out in Tom's office when people buy them. And we grab some more from here and restock out there. And you'll also see that white bucket back there, that's got Jolly Ranchers, and we keep a bowl of Jolly Ranchers on Tom's office counter for customers also, so that's where those go. And then this is not really breakfast, but it didn't fit anywhere else. So this is our snack basket. We call this our 3 o'clock snack basket because at 3 o'clock everyone gets to have a snack. And so I used to bake things, but that just doesn't happen that much anymore. So I finally started just buying the boxes of snacks, and we fill up this basket, and it actually goes pretty quickly because with, well, 7 of the kids eating snacks every day, it doesn't take long to go through this whole basket worth of snacks. Okay, this is section 3, pastas and meals, and I just named these based on, I just kind of came up with categories of stuff that seem to go together, and that's what I named them. So here we have our macaroni and cheese and hamburger helper and some sloppy joe sauce and some soup base, which really doesn't fit there, but that's where it goes. And I can't remember what should be right there. There should be something right there, but there's nothing there, and I don't know what's supposed to be there. Then I have all my pastas and Parmesan cheese and Velveeta and pepperonis. We eat a lot of pepperoni. And then the next shelf is all kind of taco related stuff. So we have our nacho cheese, our refried beans, tortillas. This is actually a box of those Doritos flavored taco shells from Taco Bell. Tom goes to the drive-thru and buys like 50 of them at a time and brings them home, and they just sell them to him just with nothing in them, so then they can use them on taco night. And then we have our tortilla chips, and then we come down and have some ramen, and our popcorn goes there, which we usually, well, not usually, we do just the loose popcorn and the air popper a lot of times, but then we also have the bag kind because that's fun and easy. And then SpaghettiOs, and it's actually funny that I'm pretty much the only one in the family that eats SpaghettiOs, but sometimes I have a craving for them, so I keep some on hand. And then this is our pudding basket and our extra pudding there that doesn't fit in the basket. And then down below we have all of our chips, and this looks like a massive amount of chips, but the other day I bought chips, and the same day Tom bought some chips, and then we all brought these chips home. We had a lot of chips. And then this basket here, this is our chip basket. These are the little single serving chips that the kids have sometimes with their lunches. And underneath I have a couple of boxes of chips I just order from Walmart's website once a month. So I buy 4 boxes usually in a month, and 2 of them fill up the basket, and then I keep the extra 2 down here till we need to refill it. And then I also keep the crackers down here, which normally that's completely full of crackers, but we're just about out, so hopefully they go on sale again soon. And this is section 5 where we keep drinks. Tom likes to drink distilled water, so we keep that up there. And I love Mountain Dew, and I also use a lot of lemon juice to make like a gelatin drink that I drink a lot of, so that's right there. And then on taco night, we let the kids have a little can of pop, so we get those little mini cans. So they sit here, and then we have hot cocoa mix, apple cider mix, and I have a Fizzini thing so I can make my own soda. So I bought, the price was better if you bought like, I can't remember how many it was now, 300 at once. So that goes all the way back there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a lot of them in there. And then some of our syrups, strawberry syrup and caramel syrup go there. The kids use those in their milk sometimes or on their ice cream. So, which brings us to section 6, condiments and sauces. So this is all of our jellies. I make most of our jelly, and then sometimes we have customers that give us jelly. So those go there, and we have our peanut butter, and then mayonnaise and ketchup and ranch dressing and all those things here. And then I hung this little basket here for the ranch dip mix, and then I have some Kool-Aid packets in there too, because they kind of didn't need a whole shelf to themselves, and that seemed like a better use of space to hang that little basket there. As I said, this was supposed to be my produce section, but it's just not happening because stuff, I don't know, it just, like the apples got really soft and yucky, and I didn't like it. So pretty much this is the empty jar shelf and the crouton shelf right there. I also had put in these little lights because I was trying to like get it all nice so when you could see back in these corners better. This is the only one that works. All the rest of them, they don't come on. And then I had a different light in another part of the room that never would go off, and it just didn't work out very good. I will show you this handy little shelf here that we don't have anything on is actually a giant Lazy Susan. Tom built one in both of those corner shelves here. That's juice from our grapes down there. And then the corner shelves over here have the same thing. That's my grocery sign. I bought that before we even had a pantry, and I saved it until I finally had someplace to hang it. And the freezer has all of our meat. This was a little system I came up with once that didn't work out, but I was trying to like make an easy way to keep track of what's in the freezer, so I made this little chart thing, and I didn't keep it up, so now it's just an ugly decoration on the front of the freezer. So over here we have our canned goods, and that's some of my applesauce and cherries that we canned with, well, the cherries were from our yard, the apples were actually from my grandma's yard. And then we have green beans and corn and lots of fruits down here, and I buy most of this stuff like a case at a time. Then we have our soups down here, and beans, tomato sauce, and then down in this corner we have our spaghetti sauce and pizza sauce. And I just keep empty boxes down there. I'm not really sure why, but I always feel like, what if I need it? And so then I keep it in there. So this is section 9, baking supplies, and as you can see, it's just, you know, we have our garlic spray, and I usually have some cooking spray there too, but I need to order some more. And our vanilla and wheat germ and graham cracker crumbs, all that kind of stuff. These jars here have like baking soda and baking powder, tapioca. Drawing a blank about what the other one has. Then we have our molasses and some pie fillings, frosting, salt, cornstarch, and then we have our chocolates, chocolate chips, and sweetened condensed milk, jellos. We have brown sugars, powdered sugars, flour, cake mixes, brownie mixes, and those sorts of things. Coming on down, we keep our bread machine down here, which I don't actually use it that much, but Tom likes to use it, so we keep it down here, and then it's always plugged in and ready to go so that they can just mix up the bread and put it in here to bake, and it's not sitting on the counter and we don't have to haul it out, so that's kind of handy. This was full of chocolate syrup at one time, but we slowly used it up and it didn't fit anywhere else, so it got to sit over here next to the bread machine. And behind it is some oil and some honey, and then we also have our coconut oil and extra canola oil, cocoa powder, gelatin down there, and extra ramens, because Tom always likes to have a lot of ramen around the house just in case there's a blizzard or something. And section 10 is all of my herb collection. I bought these jars from US Plastics, and they're a food grade plastic jar, and I really like them. They're nice, attractive jars, and they were not very much money, so I want to say they're like $1 something a piece. I can't remember for sure, but they were fairly economical. So this goes 3 layers deep on these shelves, and then this shelf is 4 layers deep, and I think this one, yeah, this one's 4 layers also, and they're actually all alphabetized. I finally did that one day so that I could find stuff easier, because you know, when you're looking for something and there's this many, it can be very difficult to find what you want. I've been slowly collecting herbs for, I would say, probably 6 years, and I've got this giant collection now. And then underneath I keep like vodka and glycerin and aloe vera gel and things like that I use for making herbal preparations. And then that's a whole bunch of new herbs that I bought that I need to make a jar for, so they're just still in their bags right now. So over here is a poster I got from herbmentor.com. So when I joined that, I got this pretty poster, so I framed it and hung it above my little work table here. And this is where I like measure out my herbs and things. So I have this is an herb grinder here, and this is a little scale that I use for measuring stuff. And I keep cotton balls down here for getting tinctures real fast when I need one, like for a topical thing. And then I also have plastic baggies in that jar because I sell herbs to people sometimes, and so I keep those down here so I have them ready to fill up with whatever somebody wants. And then that is my collection of mineral powders that I use, like MSM, and I have some vitamin C powder and citric acid and magnesium and all those kinds of things, and I add those into my soda syrups when I make them. And and then I just have some extra bottles and containers down here on these lower shelves, and I also tuck my giant muffin pans down here because they don't fit anywhere else. Then on the other side is my giant bag of mineral salt from, like, I think it's the Dead Sea salts that I use in the bath sometimes with myself or the kids or the dogs. So I have 2 of them, and one of them's in the bathroom right now, and the other one is down here because they're really giant. Then the last section I call my pharmacy, and it's just got all of our vitamins and medicine. Got pregnancy tests there. All of my tinctures. Let's see, lots of vitamin C. And then my smaller bottles of oils and things there. My essential oils. This little shelf Tom made for me, and we want to do something different because sometimes the kids will come running down the stairs, which is right on the other side of this wall, and then these slowly like work their way to the edge, and I've lost a couple of jars of essential oils to falling off the shelf. And then these are more tinctures that I've made and bottled. When I was first learning how to make tinctures, I made those labels. I don't like them now. I've got a better system, but they're still useful, so they just still sit there looking kind of ugly. Just some random stuff. This is some homemade enzyme cleaner that I have, and I just mix that with water sometimes when we need a refill. And we're using that currently on the dog. He's got some problems. So we found some people said using hydrogen peroxide and borax helped, so that's why that's sitting there. And we have some cough drops and bug spray that really don't have another home, so they're sitting right there. I'm going to back up and give you a more overall look here. This room is in the basement, and that is our electrical box. And so we just kind of built around it when we did this, but this is actually where the stairs are that go upstairs. So Tom just built the cabinets to follow the stair line, and then these are the actual studs right here that go, I mean, the wall's made out of, so the stairs are literally on the other side of that. So we just put some beadboard paneling in between the studs and then built these shelves in there to use up all that space. And then he built these little cupboards so that we could use the space under the stairs and it would look nicer. And he put in this pretty floor also, which I really like. I think it's been about 2 years since we did this room. So I'll go ahead and show you what's under here too. Oh, I have to show you my picture first. So I like this proverb, so I made a picture of it. It says, in the house of the wise are stores of choice food and oil. It's Proverbs 22:20, and I really like that. So I thought that was a good pantry verse. Then I made this pretty curtain here. It's got some nice fringe at the bottom. Let's see if I can see a little better. Behind this curtain is the hot water heater. We moved our hot water heater in here because where it was sitting in the basement, we hoped to eventually put a second bathroom, and so we had decided that it would fit here, so we moved it here, and Tom replumbed everything so that it would work from this spot instead of where it used to be. And that's was a long time ago, but we have so many long-term plans for how we want to arrange things, and we just keep going like a little bit at a time. So I know eventually we'll get the second bathroom, but it's literally been years since we moved that hot water heater in here, and we still have not got to the bathroom project yet. But that is one of my tips, is if you have a really old house, it's such a blessing because it doesn't, at least for us, this house is not expensive, so it is something that we can fix up as we have the time and money, but it has not been a burden to pay for, and we just have kind of an idea in our minds of where we're going, so as we can, we make another step forward. And this room now it used to be a horrible, ugly, dumpy, yucky room, and now it's one of the prettiest rooms in our house, which is kind of funny because it's the pantry, but in the big scheme of things, it's what had to happen next. So it happened next in the lineup, and here it is. So this little cupboard, I'll turn the light on here. I keep a broom hanging here so that I can sweep up when things get messy in here, because that definitely happens. And Tom went and put this little shelf in. It's got some of my capsules for making herbal capsules. Those are in that bucket, and then my capsule maker's in there. And then I had a few herbs that are so fluffy that they wouldn't fit in those little containers. So they're in these buckets here in the back. So that's the raspberry leaf and I think the nettle leaf might be in there too, although I don't know. That might be an empty bucket. And these are just some random things about these corks because I want to learn. Well, I did learn how to make wine out of our grapes that we grow, but I didn't actually make enough to really bottle it. But I bought the corks and some wine bottles and the cork machine thing, and maybe someday that will happen. Not that we even drink. I don't know why I want to do it, but I just like to learn how to do things, I guess. These buckets here have our sugar and dog food and oats in them. And then I have a big bag of flour here. I need to get another bucket out for it. And Tom built this little pull-out shelf. Let's see if I can do it. So it actually pulls like all the way out. He just did that recently. So anyways, the whole thing pulls a lot further out than I just did it, so that we can reach the buckets in the back really easy, which has really been very handy. And then the middle cupboard has a trash can, and behind it is a box of empty plastic containers. And then there's just some empty buckets over here behind this last little tiny door. This is the little door that the little guys like to play in sometimes because it's such a fun little hidey hole. And there's my stool that my grandpa made for Tom and I when we got married, and so we use that in here to reach the stuff on the top shelf. Mostly the little kids use it for getting things they're not supposed to get. I'm going to give you one more kind of, if I can get far enough back, a little overview here of how it goes in this room. So there's the under the stairs, my little pharmacy. That's the door that goes out. And in case you might be wondering, I will mention that these shelves up here on the top are, I think they're 1x12s. And then down here at the bottom, we built a kind of a curved edge here so that we could have wider shelves at the bottom. I believe they're 18 inches, but it didn't feel as closed in on you having them kind of curved like that. Actually, the grocery store here in town that was really tiny when I was growing up, that was the store that we always shopped at, and it had shelves that were similar to this, so that's what was in my mind when we planned this. If I had anything to do over, I would probably not be obsessive with wanting things to be balanced on the two sides, and I probably wouldn't have put the freezer here at the end because there's just not quite enough room, and it makes it hard to get into these bottom shelves. I had originally thought that I could put some tall pump bottles for my herb stuff in here, but they're a little too tall for the shelf and they didn't fit, and it just didn't work out like I thought that it would. But all in all, I'm very happy with our little pantry. Oh, there's our turkey platter up there on top of the freezer. So the other day, my friend Lindsay and I were brainstorming about ways that she could get a pantry in her house because she didn't have any extra rooms that could serve as a larger pantry like this. So I'm just going to throw out those ideas for you. If you don't have room like this, I didn't have room like this originally either necessarily. It became important to us, so we figured out how to make it work, which is kind of how we do everything. But like I said, I started just with one shelf in what was a bedroom. Lindsay said that she had a bookshelf in her hallway that she kind of started doing as a pantry, and I thought that was a good idea. You could line your whole hallway with bookshelves, and if you didn't like the way it looked, you could hang curtains on it or something, use those little tension rods maybe, and put a curtain there to cover it all and make it look nice. You could even put them in the living room that way, or even using a closet, like if you decluttered one of your closets and just put all the clothes for everybody in one closet to free up another closet for being a pantry or something like that. Some people I've heard put stuff under beds like in, you know, plastic bins or something like that, so it'd be kind of annoying to get to, but for long-term storage it might work out all right. When we first bought this house, it had no pantry storage at all, so there was like a few cupboards in the kitchen and there was no place really for food, so I just bought a one of those kind of like a cupboard like you put together yourself, and I think it was like for hardware kind of a thing, but I bought it and I put it together and just put that in the kitchen, and that's what we used for our pantry originally. So we just had that one little cabinet. Of course, that was back when we only had one child, and now that we have lots more than that, the amount of food that we would keep in there would have to be replenished much more frequently than we do currently. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would do that, and if you enjoyed seeing our pantry, and I don't know if you got any organizing tips from this or not, I hope that you did, like maybe the labeling the shelves or something, I don't know, but this is going to go in my organization section, so hopefully there was some organizing help for you in here. Anyways, if it was helpful or if you liked it, go ahead and click the like button, and I will have another organizing video up again next month. But in the meantime, pretty much every day, Monday through Friday, I'm putting out new videos, so be sure to check back again soon. We'll see you later.